ॐ सहनाववतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste. Ego is a word. We don't understand the spirit of the word. When you say ego, the problem is that we misunderstand than non-understanding. See, when everybody says, oh, he has got too much of ego. So, I don't know what's the meaning of that ego. Now, it is most used, less understood, and least applied. So, you have to understand what is the meaning of ego. See, ego is like a tool, like a knife. Now, knife is a tool. Now, the same knife with the doctor, the cook, and also the robber. All the three people have knife. It is a tool. The doctor saves the life. The cook nourishes the body. The robber kills the person. Now, the tool is the same, but the way you are able to use it makes the difference. It is the attitudinal problem. Okay. Now, the moment you have the ego, you have to understand what is the meaning of ego. Now, I am going to explain about this. I am going to do it slowly. It is a very powerful subject. You have to understand. If you are able to understand, assimilate, that means you will be able to handle yourself. And what is the difference between the knife and me? So, as far as the ego is concerned. Now, just for you to understand, there are three words. One is the ego. The other is the egoism. The other is the egotism. Now, everybody has got the ego. Now, how can you really understand? See, a lot of people is, oh, he has got too much of ego. They are always doing it in a kind of a negative sense. Don't make any mistake on this particular one. So, everybody must have an ego. So, how can it transact? So, you need a ego to transact in the world. So, about this ego. Now, it is a difficult, subtler subject. For that, you have to listen very carefully. I am doing it slowly so that you will be able to understand and also assimilate. Okay. See, now, when you talk about this particular ego, we normally say the Om. Now, you have to understand what is this Om. So, you call it as a God or Almighty. Om is concerned, it is the absolute. There is no kind of an attribute at all. Okay, so you understand this particular one. That is okay, Om. Okay, this is absolute. In Sanskrit, they say, Aham or Atma. When I say Atma, that means, all pervading. To that extent, you understand this particular subject. Okay. Now, what happens? See, from the Om, now you come to the kind of the witness, and you call it as an experiencer. One is, I am a seer, I'm the only one. I know my boyhood, my the child, and also as a man, as a old man, and everything. I am the only person. That means I am the only person who is able to experience. That is one. They say ekam. I am able to experience so many objects in the world. That means anekam. That is so many. So you have to understand, yes, I am the witness. Now when I talk about this, the whom and the witness. So what is the relationship? Although it is same, but it is something like a sun. Okay, when you say sun, there is only one. But you have got the lot of reflection in the Ganges and also the lake and also the pond and in your own well. Now, the sun is one. This is like the Om. But whereas all the reflections are so many, that means we are a body-mind complex or so many. But as far as the Atma, that is Aham, is called the only one. Now in Sanskrit they say Atma or Aham. Now what about the witness and the experiencer? That is the Ahankara. When I have this kind of the body-mind complex, that means I have the Ahankara. When I say Ahankara, that means for a transaction I am doing it also. Okay, fine. Now, so when you talk about the ego, now I got the absolute, the Om, the Almighty. Now I am the witnesser. I got the body-mind complex. I am the experiencer. Now I am able to experience through the so many other tools, and one of them is the ego. Now when you talk about the ego, it is a very positive and negative also. So how can I really handle this particular one? When I say the ego, when I talk about the positive, okay, and also the negative, I recall back the same example, tool, like a knife. So it all depends upon the attitude of a person. So your mind can be very creative, but you can also be cunning. But the mind is only one. So it is a positive and negative. When you talk about this positive qualities of ego, that means for the lack of the words, for my understanding and for your understanding, we call it as egoism. What do you mean by egoism? That means a positive qualities. Okay. Now when I talk about this negative, that means egotism. Please understand all these three. One is, the ego, right? It is a positive and negative. And also when it is a positive, it is all the good qualities like egoism and egotism. Okay, having understood. Now let us understand what is the positive quality of the ego. There is a self-esteem. So I have a tremendous amount of the worth myself. I got a lot of admiration about myself. I love myself. Okay, I also love the other people also. This is what I call the self-esteem. What I think about myself, honestly, is self-esteem. Okay, this is positive. Now, if it is a egotism, then it's self-centered. When I say self-centered, he will always talking about himself. He's an I specialist. I, me, mine. He doesn't think about anybody. So that means a negative. Please understand, ego is same. Think, So a lot of people used to say, let go the ego. No, it is impossible. Now you have to understand, yes, I understand the difference between the egoism and the egotism. So once I am able to understand, that my transaction becomes very easy. Okay. Then, when I talk about the self-esteem and the positive qualities, see, all of you know, okay, what a being, they do unto others as you would wish them do unto you. Like, humility, and helping others, okay, and being tolerant, all the good qualities. It becomes egoism. So it doesn't really matter what you understand about the words, but you have to understand the particular spirit. When I say the egoism, yes, I know what is right and what is wrong, but sometimes I'm not able to use it. Now, once I'm able to understand the difference between the egoism and egotism, that means I got a lot of awareness and I started using it. And over a period of time, unrefined person will become a refined person. Okay. Then, for example, suppose if the egotism, that means become very arrogant. Now you know what is right, what is wrong. You know what is a good quality, what is a bad qualities. Now the problem is we know, but we are not able to use it. Now there is a problem of the knowing and doing gap. Okay. Now having understood the difference between the egoism and also the egotism, now what are you going to do? When you talk about the ego, that means you have to handle the ego, but don't one up. When I say the one up, that means okay, I know about what is the egoism and egotism. Now I'll handle it in such a way that I'll always try to have the kind of the positive qualities. Okay, think. Look at this, the picture. That means you got a tremendous amount of, the introspection. You are only handling the ego, whether it's a positive or negative. Okay, think. Now, for example, now you know. Now, what are you going to do? There must be a kind of a turnaround mindset. Look at this. When it is a egotism, you just look like this, right? It is a body language. But if it is a egoism, then you are very humble. Now, all of you must have come across a lot of people. They are all the specialists. They call the eye specialist. I did it, I did it, I did it, I did it. He is always full of eye. He is not an eye specialist. He is not an eye specialist. He is an eye specialist. He is full of himself. He is full of himself. He is not available to listen to anybody. Okay, he always, thinking that about himself. So this is what he called, egotism. Doesn't really matter what position you have. Okay, whether you are a CEO or the marketing guy or a vendor or a supplier, whoever it is. Okay, you are trying to understand the other person's point of view. For that, you must understand the difference between the egoism and the egotism. Okay, that means I don't want you to be a eye specialist, but you must always be humble. You always look yourself in the other man's image. Then I want to share my experience with one of my founder directors of S.A. Chandran Institute. His name is Dr. Gopal Walecha, and he is a very brilliant person and very humble, very, very knowledgeable. So we started together in the S.A. Chandran Institute. So Dr. Walecha wanted me to accompany to meet a customer on which I don't have any business. But I said, okay, I'll go along with him. So he went to the customer. Then when I entered his room, very young boy, maybe around 25 years or less than 30 years. Okay, his body language was absolutely arrogant. That is egotism. Okay, his body language. And he did not even ask us to sit down. Then they started talking. Then there is something about the assignment for S.A. Chandran Institute. Then the way this guy was interacting with Dr. Walecha was not good. Full of egotism. Absolutely, he doesn't bother about the other man's feeling at all. He was like a eye specialist. Okay, he was telling about about the company, what is the the turnover, what is the profitability they are getting. There are so he's full of himself. He never allowed Walacha even to talk. Then I was just listening for some time, but I was not able to really stand it. The age of Dr. Walacha was around 55. Okay, this guy is around 25. There is no respect for even the age and the knowledge. So I don't know what to do. I am not supposed to be participating in the discussion. Then Dr. Walacha was just smiling, smiling, smiling. Then I took the lead and told his so and so, see, listen, you keep on asking, who am I? Who am I? Like a Ramana Maharishi, Okay. Now, if you don't know who you are, how do you expect Dr. Walecha to know you? There is a absolute silence. Then what I did, I just took the small little pin and a big egotism. It's not ego, full of egotism. I just punctured with this particular one. Okay, now he has become completely punctured. Then afterwards, I asked Dr. Valecha, why you are keeping quiet? You are such a great guy. He said, look, after all, he's an immature guy. He has inherited the wealth of his father. So what is the point, talking to him? So he was really enjoying. Then why I am giving this example? Now if you inherit something, okay, then you don't understand the value. Then you have to work on this particular world. Okay, now all of you who is listening to this particular session, now you are having a kind of a transaction from morning to night, isn't it? That whenever you are interacting with the people, you ask a question to yourself. So am I full of egoism or egotism? Now you try to understand what kind of a material you are, and over a period of time you will slowly reduce the egotism to egoism. That means you know how to handle the ego. You got to become an excellent expert in handling the ego, which is a powerful tool. And a lot of people will say, oh, he has got too much ego. Let go the ego. But this is the purpose. This is the spirit of this particular session. See, now it's very difficult to understand. It's a very subtle subject. Okay. Once you are able to understand, I think you will have a tremendous amount of, the ease of interacting with the people. Okay. Take care. All the best. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Sarve Santi Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.